Yo, welcome back to another video. This one is all about why you never actually get lean. Now that is a big statement to make, but hear me out with this. So many people never get to where they want to be, and it comes down to so many different factors, but one of the very common things that I see is because people just don't change anything. If you want to get leaner, you want to drop body fat, normally you'll think, right, I'm going to clean up my diet, I'm going to start to cut, maybe I'll track my calories, I'll go to the gym a little bit more, I'll get my steps up, I'll do some cardio, and then nothing changes. Over time, your body starts to adapt. When you're in a fat loss phase, your body is a little bit like, what the hell is going on? They want to try and preserve things. So you'll start moving less without even realizing it. You'll start fidgeting less. All of these things, which means that there needs to be constant adjustments made, and people don't make those adjustments. This is why coaching works so well, because you have an outside perspective, and when you're tracking loads of data, you know where to take things from. But if you started a diet before and you're like, oh, it doesn't work for me, or you end up rebounding or anything like that, I guarantee it's because you just haven't changed anything. Maybe you've gone into a calorie deficit, maybe you start tracking things, and great. Initially, there'll be a drop in maybe scale weight, and you'll be like, oh, nice, this is working. So you just keep doing that, which isn't necessarily wrong to start with, but at some point that's gonna slow down because your body adapts as you change. When you start a calorie deficit, you have a maintenance, and then you have a calorie deficit down here, your body starts to slow down with that and your maintenance becomes a little bit lower. So you need to keep progressing things. Now that can be in a number of ways. That could be with increasing your step count, that could be with increasing your cardio, adding an extra day and adding extra time onto your cardio, that could be with decreasing your calorie intake a little bit further, or it could be a combination of two or all three of those sort of things. If you're not changing anything, you can't expect to keep making that progress. It might be 6 to 8 weeks down the line, you see your scale weight start to plateau and you think, what am I doing wrong? And then that's when people go, oh, sod it doesn't work for me. And they go back to doing what they were doing before, or they just take an extreme approach. But this is where you need to be making constant tweaks. Now, if I liken this to something else, the first thing that comes to my head might be like F1, when before they actually race, they'll send the car around and then they'll have all the data and the feedback, and then they'll make adjustments on the cars. Maybe the tires need to change. Maybe there's loads of little micro things that need to change. It's exactly the same with your body, because it adapts over time. Our bodies are very, very clever. And this is, again, why coaching works. So what we tend to do, and what I tend to do with my clients, is we track loads of data. We track your scale weight, we might track measurements, we'll track your calories, we're gonna be tracking your output, so that we know where to pull from when things start to slow down. And that is perfectly normal as well. So normally once we make a change, we give it 2 weeks, we'll have a look at the data, have a look at the feedback. If things are in a good place and it's still moving, great, we'll just stick with it. If things have slowed down, maybe the scale weight is plateaued, we're not getting leaner week on week, then something needs to change, in which case maybe we'll take 100 calories off a day, maybe we'll increase the step target by 2,000 a day, and that just keeps things moving and moving. Now obviously you can't just keep going lower and lower and lower and lower on the calorie side of things. We want to be trying to keep your calorie intake as high as possible whilst dropping body fat. And we get to a point where you're happy with your condition, you're happy with how you're looking, you're feeling, you're performing, how clothes are fitting on you, and then you've got to reverse your calories back up, and that's the bit that most people avoid, and that's a whole separate video itself. I do actually have an educational video on that, on what a reverse diet is and how to do it, but I'll do that another time. I guarantee if you haven't got in the shape before that you wanted to, you're not adjusting things. And this is why having that outside perspective works so well, and this is why we get the results that we do, is because people have come to us normally trying things in the past, and they haven't got to where they want to be, because either they haven't stuck to things, or they just haven't adapted and changed along the way. The other mistake that people make is they go from 0 to 100 really quick. I've been guilty of it in the past. I think so many of us have been guilty of that in the past. You start a diet and you slash your calories, you cut out carbs, you go to the gym 5, 6, 7 days a week. In 1 to 2 weeks, like, I've dropped 10 pounds, this is amazing, but you can't sustain it. This is why I mentioned before that we try and make sure that you are eating as much food as possible. Now that's not as much calories as possible, it's as much food volume as possible whilst dropping body fat, which means you're more likely to stick to it, it's a more sustainable rate of fat loss, and long term it's just the best thing to do. But if you've started something before and you've not changed anything, that's gonna be why. And this is why tracking the data, although it's not the most fun, it's not the most sexy thing in the world, it works. In any business, any sport, any like professional athlete, they'll be tracking all the data so they know where they can improve, where they can pull from, what they can change. There's so many different data points there, but if you're not tracking scale weight, if you're not tracking your measurements, if you're not taking photos, you're not tracking your calories, maybe your water intake, your sleep, your steps and your cardio, sounds like a lot, it's not really, we all do it anyway. If you're not tracking those, you don't know where to change or what to change and when. As a general rule of thumb, we aim to lose roughly about 1% body fat per week, like 1% of your total body weight. Around 1 to 2 pounds a week, roughly, is a really good general rule of thumb. So if you're starting a diet now, you want to get leaner, aim for that. If things are slowing down, you need to understand why. Maybe take off 100 calories a day, maybe 150 to 200 calories a day, and then see how your body responds. And in 2 weeks, if there's no change, increase your cardio amount, increase your steps slightly, maybe decrease your calories again until you start to lose body fat or start to lose weight at that sort of rate of 1 to 2 pounds a week. That's a really good sign. Okay, I hope you found that useful. If you have any questions, then just pop them below or message me on Instagram. Make sure you're subscribed to this. I'm going to be dishing out as much free value as possible. And yeah, I'll see you in the next video.